So let's review the components of the introduction paragraph. So first of all, we have the hook. Then we have the bridge. And finally, the thesis. So remember, the hook is intended to engage your reader. And you do this by providing something interesting for them to latch onto. It can be a story, some kind of statistic, a fact, something shocking, anything like that. So the bridge provides context. So remember, your reader is likely not going to be as much of an expert as you are on the subject you're writing about, so you want to provide a necessary amount of information so they can kind of be on the same page as you. And usually the best way to do this is introduce your three main sources. And then finally, the thesis answers the prompt. Your answer to the prompt will be your argument. And it shows the structure of your argument by mapping out your argument. And these will correspond to the three body paragraphs. Next, let's take a look at setting up an assignment in MLA format. Next, we'll take a look at setting up an assignment in MLA format. This is the general format that we're going to be using for all file uploaded assignments in this class. So the first thing you want to make sure is that you're using size 12 font, a neutral font like Times New Roman, and you want to make sure that your paragraph setup is double spaced and 0 point after. So you don't want any extra space after each new line. So just double spaced, size 12 font. You want to make sure you have a header. So the way that works is you click up here, and then you go up to page number. You want it at the top of the page and aligned to the right. So since we're using the name John Doe, I'm going to put Doe. You want your last name and the page number. And then the last thing, it's a small detail, but you just want to make sure that it is in the same font and size as the rest of your essay. So the next thing, you want to make sure you do name, instructor, class. Obviously, if you're in my English 1A class, you'll put English 1A. If you're in my English 100C class, you will put that. And then date. And you want to make sure you do day, month, year. Next thing, skip a single space, and then you want your title. It doesn't go in quotes, isn't underlined, isn't bolded, it's just centered. And for every essay assignment, make sure you come up with a creative title. Okay. So next we're going to take a look at this sample introduction paragraph I'm putting together. So obviously the first part of it is going to be the hook. So I will be the first to admit math is not my biggest academic strength. When I took pre-calculus in high school, I was overwhelmed. In desperation, I wrote a letter to my counselor comparing my pre-calculus grade to an impending plane wreck. Needless to say, she got a good laugh out of that and told me not to give up. She wanted me to see it through and succeed. So if we look at what this hook is doing, it's making kind of an emotional connection to the audience. So I'll be the first to admit math is not my biggest academic strength. It starts to tell a story about when I was taking math in high school, and it gives like an emotional connotation. So overwhelmed, desperation, and then melodramatic image of an impending plane wreck. She got a good laugh out of it, so that's kind of an appeal to humor. And then this part kind of leads into the next section, which is the bridge. As you can see, my bridge has magically appeared. So again, with the bridge, you want to be introducing your three main sources to provide context for your reader. So many students feel great anxiety in subjects that they are not good at. However, scholars and psychologists believe that effort and perspective can improve student performance. In David Bartholomew's essay, Inventing the University, he discusses how all students make the adaptation to college life by entering into and participating with discourse communities. Carol Dweck in Brainology describes how adapting a growth mindset leads to success. Finally, in The Significance of Grit, Angela Duckworth emphasizes how important learning from failure is. So if we take a look at what this is doing, so scholars and psychologists, this is your they say. So scholars and psychologists believe that effort and perspective can improve student performance. And then the they in this is David Bartholomew, source 1, Carol Dweck, source 2, and Angela Duckworth, source 3. If you notice with each of these, I introduce both the author and the title, along with a short, very short summary of what the article is talking about. So David Bartholomew's essay, Inventing the University, he discusses how all students make the adaptation to college life by entering into and participating with discourse communities. Another thing the bridge does is transitions from the hook, or transitions out of the hook, I should say. So into the hook was my counselor wanting me to see it through and succeed. And then the bridge starts with many students feel great anxiety in subjects that they are not good at. So you see how it relates to what I was talking about in the hook, but also it transitions from that into the actual research of the paper. So next we will look at the thesis. And just like that, my thesis has appeared. For the introduction paragraph assignment that's due on Sunday, I want you to highlight your thesis or bold it or indicate it in some way, just so I can see what you are counting as your thesis statement to make sure that it falls in line with what I'm expecting of it. So thesis. And remember, the thesis statement does two main things. It answers the prompt by providing your argument that you're going to be making throughout your essay, and then it provides your reader with the structure of your essay by showing the three main points that are going to correspond to the three body paragraphs of the essay. So my thesis statement is: the most significant obstacle to student success is giving up before trying. This can be solved by students giving themselves room to adapt, so body paragraph 1, adopting a growth mindset, body paragraph 2, and using failure as a learning opportunity, body paragraph 3. And each of these main ideas corresponds to an article. So giving themselves room to adapt would be Inventing the University, adopting a growth mindset would be Brainology, and using failure as a learning opportunity would be The Significance of Grit. So this gives the reader a framework for the argument so that they can anticipate what is going to come. So by reading the thesis statement, your reader should have a good idea of what your whole essay is going to be about. So as you can see, an introduction paragraph along with the name and date information. I don't know why that spaced out before the date, but the whole thing should be about a page, little less than a page. You probably don't want it to be more than like a page and a quarter. That's a little long for an introduction paragraph, but about this long is perfect.